Fast Track News. Meet Now Hiring, the band that won an online competition to open for Ty Verdes last night. But their win came with controversy. You'll hear their side of the story straight ahead.
Plus, and the cradle of astronauts continues for Purdue. Boilermaker Mark Hagel and his wife take a flight to outer space.
And the Sweet 16 was anything but. We're still a little bitter. How about you? The good, bad, and the sad. Later in sports, Fast Track News starts now. Good afternoon, Boilers. Welcome to Fast Track, where we've got the latest campus news just for you. I'm Maddie Kamatz.
And I'm Marcus Truccio. It's Friday, April 1st. Ty Verdes performed last night in Loeb as a part of his HDTV tour.
But before he took the stage, it was his opening act everyone was talking about this week on Reddit. Reporter Abby Myers sat down with Now Hiring. Abby, what was this all about?
Even though they weren't the headliners, Now Hiring certainly made headlines this week when they were accused of cheating in the competition that determined the opening act. The local band, made up of Purdue students, won the opportunity to open for Ty Verdes last night after competing in an Instagram competition run by the Purdue Student Concert Committee. But it turned out to be a blessing and a curse when Reddit posts began circling about the legitimacy of their win. For Now Hiring, this performance was the chance of a lifetime. The band was formed less than a year ago after lead singer Grant Trammel made a post on social media about forming a band. Now, the band consists of 7 members. They describe themselves as a combination of many musical genres, but mostly alternative and rock.
We are a new band. We've been playing shows this year and this year alone. This will be our first real big one, but we're excited about it.
The band decided to enter the Instagram competition almost as soon as it was announced. Each artist or group competed to earn the most points, which were calculated based on the number of likes and comments on an Instagram post. The competition opened on March 24th and closed on March 27th at midnight. Now Hiring ended up with a significant lead, but a Reddit post made on March 28th claimed they used bots to buy likes. Now Hiring continued to deny the allegations and even created a document with evidence to defend themselves.
Our document is a timeline of events with screenshots and our emails to the SEC to show we are in constant communication. And we want people to be able to make informed decisions.
Mike Armentrout, the Associate Director of Purdue Convocations, told Fast Track that the organization felt it was important to showcase a student-based act on the show, but had nothing to say about any perceived controversy related to the opening act. Despite the controversy, Now Hiring chose to put it behind them and focus on the great opportunity.
We all love music so much. We love performing. We love, making music. Every one of these guys is dedicated and passionate about their craft and is ready to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Hey, thank you so much for coming out today. I know.
Reporting for Fast Track News, I'm Abby Myers.
Thanks, Abby. After Now Hiring made their case, the Reddit user who made the initial cheating accusation posted again, saying the evidence the band compiled was convincing, and he has since changed his mind.
Voting for the new PSG president and vice president closed Wednesday night. The last votes are being counted as we speak. There were 6 campaigns this year, each of them running on different platforms. Stay tuned to our social channels for news on a new winner and a possible interview with them on a future show.
Next is our first look at the weather. And I've got to say, Steven, I really haven't been loving this roller coaster we've been on this week. Is this some sort of big April Fool's joke?
Yeah, this week I went from my winter coat to shorts, back to my winter coat in just 2 days. When will spring be here to stay?
Well, Marcus, it feels like a big April Fool's joke because we still have a few more days of this gloomy, rainy weather, and even in the 7-day forecast, it's not looking that much better. As we take a look at what's going on outside today, at least we're going to stay dry, but temperatures still around 10 degrees below average here in West Lafayette. Today's high is going to reach right around 47 degrees, with winds coming out of the northwest at 7 to 9 miles per hour, with some mostly sunny skies. Gusts are going to reach up to 20 miles per hour at times. That's probably going to be the biggest draw as we move later on into this afternoon. And sunset tonight is right around 8:12. As we take a look at the hourly forecast for what we can expect for the rest of today, by noon it's going to be 40 degrees, winds coming out of the northwest around 10 miles per hour, and mostly sunny skies. Mostly sunny skies will remain for the rest of the afternoon, but we're not going to warm up very much. Just 44 degrees at 3 o'clock today, and moving to 6 is going to be 45, Going into the overnight, we are going to stay mainly dry in the early parts of the overnight. We are going to have some increasing chances as we get into the early morning hours of Saturday, but 41 degrees at 9 o'clock, and by 12 o'clock midnight, it is going to be 38 degrees. As we take a look at what we're going to be expecting on the radar, moving into Saturday, we can see there's quite a big system with a chance for some snow off to the north that'll be moving into early Saturday morning. We'll have a little bit more on that as we come back here on weather.
Back on Earth, Purdue alum and band building donor Mark Hagel and his wife Sharon were part of the Blue Origin's human spaceflight yesterday. This is video courtesy of Blue Origins on YouTube. You could tell Mark was excited about his space ride. Everything went smoothly as they blasted off into zero gravity. Before landing back safely in West Texas, we've been in communication with the Hagels. Mark told us he hopes the space venture lets Boilermakers know that the sky isn't the limit anymore.
Be extra vigilant. That's the word from ITAP this week about guarding against hackers. With the ongoing situation in Ukraine, ITAP says there's a heightened concern about the use of cyber warfare. The university encourages you to verify your computer has security software to protect against viruses and malware. Also, make sure you back up your data on a regular basis, and be on the lookout for unusual emails and text messages.
Purdue has a number of different learning communities. Maybe you are or were a part of one, but to some, these opportunities might still be a mystery.
Reporter Jaeden Roussey takes a closer look at what life is like in learning communities and how students can benefit.
Many incoming freshmen are unaware of the learning communities here at Purdue University. These communities can provide several benefits to these incoming freshmen, but first, before we get into these benefits, what exactly is a learning community?
So when students enroll in a learning community, they'll live together, take classes together, and then there'll be some planned events in the evenings or on the weekends or even during the day that have to do with their academic learning community, like courses and discipline.
There are several benefits to being part of a learning community. Students will be able to meet new people, learn about helpful resources, and broaden their learning experiences.
I mean, if you're just on a floor with students, you might only see them if you have the same routines. But they're on a floor, they share the same classes, and then it also kind of helps them figure out what they want to do.
Regardless of which school a student is admitted to, there are several different learning communities that are available to students.
And when students log into our system, they will only see what they are eligible for. So if something's missing, they can contact us, but it's already done for them. So they can immediately see a snapshot of all the learning communities that might be relevant for them.
If you're an incoming freshman and interested in the learning community, make sure to apply at purdue.edu/learning communities. This is Jaeden Roussey, Fast Track News.
Thank you, Jaeden.
Up next on Fast Track, Aviation Day returns. We're going behind the scenes to learn about the planning for the open house next week.
And Purdue is reaching out to international scholars displaced by the invasion of Ukraine. How is this helping those directly affected by the war? Fast Track will be back right after this.
I need a team. One that can think quick on its feet. One that can deal with anything that's thrown at them. They're on their way now.
So AdLib is a group of just a couple of Purdue students who like doing improv comedy. We do short form and long form improv comedy. The trick is that it's made up.
I will say, well, I have to go to practice that night, and I say, really? Why would you need to practice for improv? Or how do you even practice for something where you're just making everything up?
You're just instantly put into this world where like anything goes, really.
So we just did one earlier in practice where I was, my name was Francois, and I wanted to kill someone but also date them, and it was very complex, like a soap opera.
And so ultimately it looks like we make everything up there, which we do, but it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes practice to be able to get to that point when feeling comfortable on stage.
We are generally always ready for a show.
On a Friday night, have people come in and make them laugh is really what it's all about.
I feel like right before you go on stage, it's a lot of nervousness combined with excitement.
Oh, nerves, nerves, and nerves.
We just need to get pumped up before a show.
We can focus, and we do something called mind melding, which is where we all try to get into the same conceptual mindset.
All that warming up, it really puts you in this mood, and it gets rid of those nerves. And as soon as you hit that stage, it's just like all those feelings are gone. once you hear that crowd in uproar.
It's always really fun to just hear people laugh.
I absolutely love the energy from the audience. I love hearing people pour in, and I like getting on stage and taking a silent audience to one that's yelling suggestions at you. I love it. Okay.
They're on their way now. Be prepared for a lot of randomness.
You can expect laughter.
Welcome to Ad Liberation.
With Russia's invasion of Ukraine continuing now into its 7th week, Purdue has put into action an initiative to begin hosting Ukrainian scholars who have been displaced by the conflict.
Fast Track had a chance to speak with Mike Brzezinski, Dean of International Programs, to hear more about the program.
This initiative is Purdue's answer to try to help the people of Ukraine in a small but yet hopefully meaningful way for a few academics, for a few Ukrainian scholars. It was conceived initially by a few faculty in the School of Management, but it quickly mushroomed into something that became much more than just an idea of two people. Many people have rallied around this initiative, ranging from academic deans to the president, the provost, the treasurer and chief financial officer, and many other people as well.
While at Purdue, the Ukrainian visiting scholars could either engage in their own research or support research conducted by Purdue faculty members. The goal is to offer the program to up to 20 visiting scholars and their dependents.
I'm very proud to be a part of this initiative and the many people who have given up their time and resources to be involved to try to help individuals in great need. So I think it's one of Purdue's shining moments, quite frankly.
The program is intended to be a year long, but an extension may be possible depending on the circumstances in Ukraine.
Are you ready to get your nerd on? The Purdue Student Union Board is hosting the annual BoilerCon convention tomorrow, Saturday, April 2nd, in the Union Ballroom. The event will feature an escape room, a cosplay costume contest, and over 20 vendors. The highlight of the event will be a panel of voice actors from Avatar: The Last Airbender at 1 p.m. The event is free and will go from noon to 6 p.m. Tune into our show next week for an in-depth look at this year's event. Taking a look at the Protect Purdue COVID-19 dashboard, the positivity rate is up just slightly again to 2.23%, with a total of 43 cases on campus in the past 7 days, which is about double the number of last week's cases. 10 isolation beds and quarantine beds are in use, compared to 6 beds occupied last week.
It has been nearly 2 months since the incident involving Purdue student Adonis Tuggle and PUPD officer John Silkey. At the beginning of March, John Gates, the Vice Provost for Diversity and Inclusion, announced that body camera footage from the incident would be made available to the public, but no such video has been released. The Black Student Union planned to have a town hall event with PUPD on March 7th, but it was canceled at the last minute. We've reached out to Andrew Stroth, Adonis Tuggle's attorney, but we have not received a response. Fast Track will continue to follow up with the story. Aviation Day is in a week, and this year's theme is Aviation Reunited, welcoming everyone back to the event after a 2-year hiatus.
Reporter Diego Ortiz-Ceja has details about what you can expect to see on the Purdue Airport. Diego?
The Purdue Airport has long been recognized as an aviation historical site, and preparations for its Aviation Day held there have already begun. Purdue Aviation Day 2022 is back after its 2-year stop due to the pandemic. It will take place from April 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I spoke with Michael Bender, who is a co-director of the event, to get more information.
For this year's Purdue Aviation Day, you can expect a whole number of things. As far as the static display, we've got commercial aircraft, so we're having a number of different airlines coming in. Our presenting sponsor this year is Envoy Air. They're bringing in an Embraer 175. We're
going to bring in an E-175 just like this. On that day, you're going to have an opportunity to meet with fellow envoy pilots, get up here on the flight deck.
We're also having some military aircraft, a couple Blackhawks, and then we're also having numerous historical aircraft, a T-6, a T-28, and numerous others.
Apart from the various aircrafts that will be shown, he also mentioned that there will even be activities for children for the whole family to participate in. Included in the schedule are a handful of guest speakers, including FedEx and Heather Penny, who is most widely recognized for her service on September 11th.
Really excited. After all, it is a free event. Don't need to RSVP or anything like that. Just feel free to come out, enjoy the day. We'll have food trucks that you can come and enjoy with the family, so you don't have to leave or go get food or anything. So we'll pretty much have it all here. Learn about aviation and learn all that aviation and the School of Aviation and Transportation Technology has to offer.
From Fast Track News, this is Diego Ortiz.
Thank you, Diego. That looks like a pretty cool setup they got there.
It does. I might have to go check it out myself. Hopefully Aviation Day will have nice weather next Saturday.
It's still a little far out, but meteorologist Stephen Abshire might have April 9th on his radar. Stephen, does it look like the cold snap will end?
Well, Maddie, it looks like we're going to have some relief from this cold weather as we move into the short term into this weekend, but it isn't going to last forever. As we take a look for Friday today, it's going to be a high of 47 and a low of 32. We do have a chance for some mixed precipitation as we move later on into Saturday morning, including some flurries into the overnight hours, but nothing's really going to be accumulating. As we move into Saturday, that's going to be our greatest chance to see some accumulating rainfall. 60% chance of mixed precipitation throughout the day with a high of 51 and a low of 34. We're going to have mostly cloudy skies and winds coming out of the southeast. As we move into Sunday, that's going to be our nicest day of the weekend because it is going to stay dry, and we are going to get a little cooler, right around a high of 55 and a low of 40. And wind's going to be coming out of the northwest at around 6 to 9 miles per hour with mostly cloudy, sunny skies, But as we take a look at the forecast model as we move later on into this weekend, we see there's a couple chances for some rain, mainly on Saturday, and again on Mondays. We can see some snow and some rain beginning to move into our forecast area, and that's going to be a big story as we move later on into the 5 and 7 day forecast. As we take a look at what we're going to be expecting later on into our show, rain chances for next week, and when will spring finally return and finally get some warmer temperatures, and also upcoming campus events and some of the weather impacts related with it.
Being involved in the 3-year program at Purdue made it easier to say to myself I could get done in 3 years. The 3-year program helped save me a ton of money. In not completing my 4th year, I would save around $30,000. It will give you an advantage, if anything. Doing the 3-year program at Purdue has shown me that I have motivation to do whatever it takes to get my degree.
I work for Student Life because I'm able to develop leadership skills that will carry over after college.
I work in Student Life because I'm developing time management skills and friendships that will last a lifetime.
Taking a look at the national forecast for today, we can see a few chances for some precipitation. All that snow and rain that moved through early this morning is going to continue to track off to the east, so we are going to be dry for the rest of today. Our next story, what's going to be happening tomorrow, is this storm system behind us. It'll begin to grow and move off to the east, bringing us some chances for some rain and snow with it, but behind it, mainly some high pressure systems bringing us some nice weather on the beginning of Monday and mainly on Sunday. As we take a look at what to expect on Saturday, there's a big EDM concert event on Slater Hill, but it looks like there is a chance that it might be canceled because of what we're expecting. A 60% chance for rain at 5 o'clock, so it's a couple hours before the beginning of the show at 49 degrees. At 7 o'clock when the show is beginning to start, it's going to be partly cloudy with 47 degrees, and by 9 o'clock when it's wrapping up, partly cloudy and at temperatures right around 45 degrees. If it is going to be moved, they'll move it to Elliott, and so make sure to take a look at the Purdue EDM Club announcements on any social media account that they might post it on. As we take a look at our March recap, we've had a pretty nice month in terms of weather. It wasn't very cold, but it was pretty wet, and it's not exactly what you'd expect for this time of the year. Average high temperatures that we had last month were 56 degrees, and that's about 4 degrees above average, which is right around 52 in March. Normal rain for this time of the year is 3.5 inches, and we got a 4.6 inches, so about an inch more than what you'd normally expect, and really no snow that we had last month. You normally have around 3.1 inches of snow in a normal year. We really didn't have any noticeable snowfall at all. It was really just a trace amount. As we take a look at our 5-day forecast as we move later on throughout this week, today is going to be a high of 47 with a low of 32. And going into the weekend, we're going to see a bit of a warm-up, 51 on Saturday and 55 on Sunday. On Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have a chance for some showers on both of those days, mainly in the overnight hours on Monday, but most of Tuesday is going to have a chance for some precipitation, 40% chance of rain on Monday with a high of 56, and on Tuesday a high of 58 and a low of 47, but a 60% chance for showers.
Coming up after the break, a tough loss for the Purdue men's basketball team has left many broken hearts on campus. That being said, don't get too down on yourselves just yet. Boilermaker fans of all sports have much to look forward to next season and a lot to be proud of right now. We'll tell you why after this quick break.
I'm Erin Isaacs, and I'm the president of Purdue Flow Community. The Purdue Flow Community has had over 80 members over the course of 2 years. Currently, we have about 20. The goals of the Purdue Flow Community are to make sure that everybody who wants to learn any kind of flow arts at Purdue can join a big community where everyone can be together, have a good time, stay safe while doing some of these activities, and do it for free, because who wants to pay to have fun? The thing I like most about Purdue Flow Community is how relaxed it is. It's come as you will, have fun while you're there, no charge to you whatsoever. If I were to define flow arts, I would say that flow arts are expression and dance through the manipulation of whatever objects you can think of. You got poi, where you're spinning weights on a string. You have hula hoops, like the toys you used to play with as a kid. Or we have some more extravagant types like orbits, which spin really fast and make cool patterns. And you got gloving, where just the tips of your where just your fingertips light up and you can make shows with them. We have a member who uses rope dart, and rope dart used to be a weapon, but it is, over the course of time, has changed from a weapon specifically to a means of expression. You can get in touch with the Purdue Flow Community on BoilerLink if you just type in Purdue Flow Community. We have an Instagram, we have Facebook pages, and we now have a YouTube channel. Start with BoilerLink, you can get to all the above through the BoilerLink.
It was another sad week in Boilermaker country. As most of you know, this year's highly touted Purdue squad suffered a loss in the Sweet 16 to none other than the 15-seeded St. Peter's Peacocks. It was a measly effort by the Boilermakers last Friday, who turned the ball over 15 times, despite edging out the Peacocks in field goals and rebounds. To go along with the turnovers, Purdue star Jaeden Ivey scored just 9 points. So just like that, this Purdue team that had so much promise comes up short yet again. As sad as it is for some Purdue fans, this season was still full of incredible highlights. From being ranked number 1 in the country at one point to making our 4th Sweet 16 in the last 5 tournaments, students and alumni have a lot to look back on. To go off of that, Purdue basketball has its 3rd first-round draft pick, Jaeden Ivey, in the last 7 years. Ivey is projected to be a lottery NBA draft pick. Number 23 was really something else to watch this year. In closing, congratulations to this year's Purdue men's basketball team. It may not have ended in celebratory fashion like we envisioned, but the future is still certainly bright for this program. And now to some recent news regarding the men's basketball team. Junior guard Isaiah Thompson announced on Monday that he will be entering the transfer portal. Thompson took to Instagram to announce his decision, saying, quote, "Purdue, I just want to thank you for everything. The love you've showed me and my family was greatly appreciated, and never went unnoticed. To my coaches and teammates, thank you for the continued support throughout all the ups and downs. Nothing but love, and I will forever be a Boilermaker. Good luck to Isaiah, and all of us here at Fast Track wish him the best wherever he ends up playing next season. Speaking of the future being bright for men's basketball, I'm starting to get excited about next season. Why, you ask? Because of this guy, Fletcher Lawyer. The incoming Boiler recruit just won a national three-point contest, and he beat out Duke's Kyle Filipowski and undecided Austin Montgomery to become the second Boilermaker to win this competition, the other being Ryan Klein. We look forward to this Indiana Mr. Basketball nominee wearing the black and gold. Purdue is in the midst of a recent national champion, Tyler Downs. Tyler is a freshman here on the Purdue dive team and has a very impressive resume. Tyler is now an 18-year-old Olympian and NCAA national champion. He won the 10-meter championship last Saturday with a convincing 85 on his final drive. He is now the 5th individual champion since 2009 for Purdue, making our school one of the top diving programs in the country. Tyler, who is also a very prominent social media figure, attended the Oscars in Hollywood last Sunday. The freshman phenom will look to repeat his performance next year and defend his title. The Boiler Bats lost a close game on Tuesday to UIC. The 16th ranked Purdue team recorded a program record 19 strikeouts, but let a 9-0 lead fall short when UIC scored 10 unanswered runs in the final 3 innings. Cam Thompson has received special mention of being the number 12 ranked first baseman in the nation with a near .350 batting average and a solid 31 RBIs. The 18-2 Boilers travel to Champaign this weekend to hopefully take all 3 games from our neighbors, the Fighting Illini. Additionally, keep an eye out for next weekend when the Boilers host Indiana for a 3-game weekend starting Friday at 4 p.m. That's a wrap for sports. Fast Track will be back after this quick commercial break.
We've been a team since 1980, so my father founded the team back then, which was before I was born. And we've been competing ever since in the IHSA, which is the Intercollegiate Horse Show Association. We actually have levels all the way from walk-trot, which anybody can learn how to walk and trot a horse in their first lesson, all the way up to open, which is where they're jumping over jumps around 3 foot in height. So we have kids that have never ever ridden before. We have several international students on the team this year that have never even touched a horse, and yet they're going to be able to show probably next semester when they have a little more practice under their belt. We have a level for everybody, so we have kids that have literally never seen a horse in their life on the team.
It's a really great opportunity for students to learn to ride horses or to get back into riding horses, and it's really wonderful. I'm also a resident assistant, so I'm extremely busy all the time, but they still manage to make time to schedule in a lesson for me, which is fantastic, and I absolutely love everything about the team and the people on the team.
It is a little expensive for a club at Purdue, but we have to pay for our horses, so it costs right now $400 a semester to be on the team, which seems a little pricey, but for people that are used to riding, that's pretty cheap in the long run. They get about 10 lessons a semester. So that being said, we're just looking for good team players.
We love people who are open because we're a really, really close team and we all like to know each other. So we look for someone who's definitely open to being themselves.
Hi, pretty girl. Hello.
She's very sweet.
It makes me feel like I'm at home because I'm used to going to the barn every single day. And when I came here, I wanted to look for something like that in the equestrian team, and I miss my horse, so this kind of helps. You can make a lot of close friends. It's a nice group of people that friendships can last for a lifetime.
Looking at the forecast model for the rest of this week, we can see there's 2 or 3 chances for some rain and some snow as we move later on into the 7-day forecast. On Thursday, we're going to see a bit of a dip in temperatures, followed by some snow flurries. So I mean, don't put away that jacket just yet. For the rest of the 7-day forecast, on Monday is going to be a 40% chance of showers with a high of 56 and a low of 41. We are going to get increasingly warmer in the next 3 days. 48 on Tuesday with a low of 47, a 60% chance for showers. And on Wednesday, again, a 60% chance for showers, so it's not going to be dry next week at all. High of 60 and a low of 40. And on Thursday, mostly cloudy and cooler. Again, another chance for some rain and some snow, but really that's going to be on early Thursday morning. Highs just around 45 degrees and a low just above freezing.
Hi, I'm Erin Isaacs, Social Media Director for Fast Track News. The now hiring ban response to cheating allegations against them in the Tie Verdes contest is now up on our Instagram. We are also active on TikTok and YouTube. Be sure to follow us there for sneak peeks of stories to come each week at Fast Track News.
That's it for this edition of Fast Track News. I'm Maddie Kamatz.
And I'm Marcus Truccio. And a programming note, Fast Track's next newscast will be recorded during Springfest on Saturday, April 9th, and posted to YouTube, the Purdue channel, and BoilerTV shortly after.
Look for us out on Memorial Mall and have a great weekend.